Buongiorno, mio nome è Tatiana Bilbao, sono l'architetta principale di Tatiana Bilbao Studio. We believe architecture provides a primary form of care for the body. Therefore, we design structures that can really hold bodies to exist in this planet. We think of architecture as this medium that allows humans to inhabit the planet. We really think that architecture allows the human to exist, but also inspires humans to grow. Therefore, for us, designing something that is very small or very large, for us is the same. It's really about understanding how to hold lives in order to protect them and to inspire them to grow. We work and really think our architecture from the body through the path of time and with its histories, with its stories to develop. I really understand the responsibility of architecture in very deep terms, and I think that if we think deeply, every single piece of architecture that we insert in any context is a piece of what is defining the whole context in which we live in. So every piece should, and the addition of pieces, of course, is the result of the built environment. If we do not understand the responsibility that we are building the larger environment by inserting one single small piece, we really are missing the power that architecture does have, because it does exist. So the city, for example, is the sum of its parts. And every part counts. Every part defines how the inhabitant relates to the other collective as well. So for us, really designing the most kind of nuclear parts of the city, where the most needed people are, it's really designing at large for the best of the collective. And we really is because we really think that architecture provides a primary form of care. We are always targeting those who really need these platforms to thrive in the world. In the project for the pilgrimage route, we work doing very small because of the vast landscape in which they lie on interventions. Actually, when you stand on them, they're not so small. They're actually pretty large in size. But it's a very long route of 110 kilometers long, more or less, in which we design interventions, landscape interventions, with different architects that we invited also, to be able to have points of encounter, points of interest, points also of kind of targets, goals of the pilgrims, to understand that there's also a rhythm in this walk that for sure make identity and cohesion for the pilgrims that go in this route better and seen. I think that these types of interventions, rather than speaking into larger public spaces, are really kind of supporting a ritual that happens for now almost 200 years, and that really they're serving the purpose of becoming these points of encounter, points of interest, and somehow it's starting to give an identity to that route linked to the ritual. So it's not really a public space, it's much more the procession or the company of this incredible ritual that happens in this landscape. Today, architecture is totally surrendered to capital, and this notion and understanding of architecture being the only medium that allows to exist in this planet has been relegated to the larger kind of power that capital represents. And this is problematic because it's really like capital is expelling the majority from cities. Capital is deciding who and how inhabits this city, and mostly nowadays city centers, for example, have been emptied of people gaining capital power and control over any space in the central city. This, of course, is super problematic because architecture is losing its capacity, because the importance of architecture is that it provides us a possibility of inhabiting this planet. So for me, the largest problem is, when is this circle going to explode, and to which extent are we going to take this on to a point that then cities disappear? Because if the city center is being neglected from life, from social life, not touristic, not political, not capital, but social life, then it's going to arrive a day that there's no more people to serve. So what will happen to a city, for me, is a very big question, and a very big point of urgency for us to act. We have to really rebirth the condition that architecture is not a commodity. It should really rebirth its position as a primary form of care. Our studio really works collaboratively for one very big reason and one condition. The very big reason is because architecture is a collective act, whether we accept it or not. I mean, I think there are many forms of practicing architecture and practicing architects, and also in the past, that think that there's one genius mind that can solve everything. It's not true. It has never been. It is a collective act because there are several stages of participation of many minds, hands, etc. Even if we think that there's one single mastermind doing architecture, it doesn't come from itself. No, it's constructed by being inhabitant of a city, by having learned from others, by having heard others, by having read others. So I think that already is a collective act, no? But, I mean, that's more philosophical, but physically it is a collective act. So for us, it's accepting what is real, and then really opening the conversation, because we believe that when you open the conversation and accept that it is a collective act and put everybody on the table to work, you create spaces that are much more inclusive. Because if you're already including different minds to build it, you immediately open the doors to accept much more different people to inhabit that architecture. But I think that is also what I said in the beginning is two reasons, and one is a condition that really exists in our context. No, so Mexico City is a city that has been built by the people, and it really continues to do so. Mexico City urban planning is not about planning, it's about responding. So it doesn't come first, it comes after what people had been, no, in producing space in the city, in many regards, even in today in the most kind of centric areas of the city. So yes, it could be replicated. In a way, I believe that here in Rome, a lot of things happen the same, because there's a lot of history. There's a lot of buildings that impose themselves in this urban condition, and that have created the result of what the city of today is, the possibilities of intervention or not. So that is also a way of a social production of space, if you think it through the history. In Mexico, is allowed and reinforced. And if we really truly think on how to enhance this notion of the collective thinking on space, and not standardizing through one mind or through one big plan, I think it's applicable everywhere with its conditionants. No, maybe some cities will revert the notion of standardization and planning before, and others will resist. No, but I think that it is applicable somewhere in many regards.